Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. I am Cloven Crow, author of Unlocking the Secrets of Sorcery on Amazon. And tonight's subject is going to be what the hell is wrong with the magical community these days. When I say magical community, I am talking about everyone. Wiccans, people who don't associate with Wicca, witches, ritual magicians, ceremonial magicians, anyone who practices some sort of mysticism or magic. So the first problem that I see with practitioners these days is that they are practicing a superficial form of spirituality. And this superficial form of spirituality, I call pop spirituality because it means popular spirituality. It's a kind of social media form of spirituality that boosts the ego of the person practicing it and tells them what they want to hear while actually accomplishing nothing magical whatsoever. So those people are powerless. And this is where you find, for example, the pretty witch, the one who will take their leather-bound book of shadows and go to the craft store and decorate it like you know, Martha Stewart, just blah, all over the book. And then you also have, people who they like to decorate themselves with important sounding titles, and yet they don't, what they practice accomplishes absolutely nothing. And a good example of that would be, a lot of people who claim to practice ceremonial magic or ritual magic. They know a lot of rituals, okay, with important sounding, God and angel names, but they don't accomplish anything. The magic is useless. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing that's wrong is magic these days, or magical practitioners these days, their magic lacks science. If you were to pull someone aside who claims to practice magic and ask them if they could explain their practice in terms of science, then they most likely wouldn't be able to, because they're not interested in science. So, and that's probably one of the reasons why what they practice, has no real effect in the world. And you can tell if the magic, if a person has any amount of power just simply by looking at that person and their life to see if they are happy and successful. And if they're not, then they're lying. So the third problem that I see with the practice of magic or in the magical community is for the most part, magic has become a form of religion. And this is really nothing new. It really, the practice of magic always has been closely tied with religiosity. Um, the concept of gods and goddesses and supernatural beings like demons and angels um, is almost inseparable from magic. It's in all forms of magic. For example, most practices recognizes some form of god or goddess, or even like the source. In ceremonial magic, they recognize um, a creator god, and in many of the pagan religions, they recognize, or just in paganism in general, they usually recognize the god and the goddess, or even polytheistic, multiple gods and goddesses. So it's everywhere. And I'm not saying that these beings don't exist, that there is no God or goddess or angels or demons or daemons, because they do exist. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't call on them, but your entire magical practice should not be devoted solely to kissing God or God butt, um, or worshiping angels or whatever. You have power. You are just as connected to the source of all things as any deity or higher spirits. And if you only realize that, then devotional magic would not really even be an issue. You probably wouldn't do it. So, we will go over, or I will talk about communing with deities in the future. I would call it communicating with high spirits. But I don't teach a type of magic that has to do with worship. Sorcery is not about worship. Sorcery is about getting stuff done, getting results, because we as magicians and witches and shamans and mystics and sorcerers and sorceresses need to take back the power and earn the respect of the community if we are to be taken seriously. Otherwise, we are just cosplayers, role players. That's all we are. We're playing Harry Potter. So think about that. And if you enjoy this video, I encourage you to subscribe and tell your friends, and leave your questions or comments in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. So thank you for listening, and until next time.